Hi, my name is Daniel Peters. I'm a music writer in Singapore and also a record collector with too many records.
Hi, I'm Nigel Lopez and I run Middle Class Cigars and Evening Chants.
While we're here at Unlock Vault, they actually give us the time to dig through their massive selection, and these are some of the records that we picked out. The first one that I did pick out is Brockhampton's Iridescence. So Brockhampton, as you can see on like their hype sticker, they're the hardest working boy band in show business. True to form they are, because One Direction's not around. Quite a step up in many ways. This is recorded at Abbey Road. While it's not my favourite, I have to say that it's in many ways a huge progression in terms of like the band sound and their approach to lyrics, and yeah, I think this is just a fantastic record.
There's a lot to choose from at Unlock Vault, but like these are the records that spoke to me lah. And basically, so yeah, this is pretty much that.
Right, yeah.
So this is Rita Know by 106.9 Never, and I think this is one of his most important albums that really like made his mark in the whole like experimental scene, and like this was the one that really got me into it. So like my favorite tracks are like Ouroboros and Rita Know, and like basically he has this whole vibe about him. It's like sci-fi, and I don't usually like sci-fi stuff, but there's something about it that's eerie, and like he does it very well, and his own vibe that only 106.9 Never can create, and I really appreciate that.
Second album for my selection is John Coltrane's Sonship. This is an album in his like huge discography that is not really selected by critics, but at the same time I feel like this is my favorite John Coltrane album, and it's kind of like the transition point from A Love Supreme to his like wilder, more experimental work like Ascension or Home. It's slightly accessible and very spiritual, but at the same time it goes in like many different places which are totally wild. So yeah, I love this album. It's definitely a top 10 for me of all time.
The next one I just picked out because honestly I really like the artwork, and like recently I've been getting into a lot of like bossa nova. So like the first thing that I saw was like the bossa nova section in Unlock Vault, and I was like okay, and like I was like oh shit, this is not a bossa nova album. Like how is this artwork a bossa nova artwork? But I went to Spotify it, and yeah, it's pretty bossa nova-ish. It has like clarinets and shits, and like I really like that. Yeah, I'm gonna go home and check it out and give it a proper listen.
The third record I have is Shamekh Farrah's First Impressions. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Picking this album up because firstly I've actually managed to preview a few tracks on YouTube. It's one of the rare jazz albums that I've managed to find online where the full album is not available online. Neither is it. It's not on Spotify, it's not on YouTube. I think it was a no-brainer for me to buy this. This is actually part of the Strata East catalog. It was a little-known label in America of like small-time jazz albums. So these albums were usually like one-offs for some of these musicians. Not a lot of them are prolific, but at the same time, I think it's great right now. We're living in a time where all these labels are digging out these old albums and able to reissue it. And this is done by Pure Pleasure Records, who take a great deal in reissuing their records. They do like an all analog remastering, so this is sure to sound great.
Next, Visible Cloaks Lex. They just craft like this like sonic like landscapes that are like pristine and like clean, but they do it in a way that it just like transports you into this old. To me, whenever like this album art is the best descriptor of their sound. It's like in like the early 2000s and like your maths textbook. Then the cover page, the kind of like weird 3D spheres. It's exactly what it is, and like they're able to create sounds like just like with this visual imagery in mind, and fantastic duo. And like, I really hope that they're gonna release more music soon.
They're also huge champions for like 80s Japanese ambient music. So I mean, me and Nigel, that's kind of like our shared affinity for like the kind of music that we like as well. So Visible Cloaks, as far as I know, they'll actually be curating a compilation for Line the Attic for that era in Japanese music, so we're really excited about that. Yeah. We're probably going to get a copy each, for sure. My fourth selection is Nasty by Rico Nasty. Probably one of the most fun rap albums you'll hear in like the past 5 to 10 years. She is like a self-professed innovator of a genre called Sugar Trap. I mean, there's not much to go with that, but at the same time, in terms of like talking about rap and trap music, she's definitely one of the most fun and energetic rappers out there. At the same time, also really excited to see like what she will actually put out this year.
My next album is Laurel Halo's Raw. I always forget the title, Raw Silk Uncut Wood. Yeah. It's not a very easy title to remember, but basically, this was one of my favorite ambient albums of last year. I've been following Laurel Halo for a while, And the things that like when I first got into her, she was very into that whole like experimental techno side of things. And it wasn't the Laura Halo that I started off with, but it's like a really pure ambient Laura Halo that like this is perfect. Like shout out to Laura Halo, man.
I think she's one of like the rare electronic artists where like if you listen to a track by her, it sounds like something that she would do, but at the same time, she has such like a varied approach to like music as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Very unique artist. The last album that I have is actually an album that I've not listened to, but at the same time, I felt like this was a no-brainer to get it. It's Binka and Moses Alive in the East. So the whole band, Binka and Moses, they are musicians in like the UK jazz scene. And Moses Boyd, Binka Golding, Evan Parker, Tori Hensley, Yusuf Deyes, and Byron Walden. So I'm just gonna read it out from the back. I'll probably like mess it up. But anyway, like the UK jazz scene is something which I'm just so incredibly excited by. You just have like all these musicians who are like my age, younger, older, and they have such a refreshing and unique approach to jazz right now, which kind of melts like the styles of like R&B, spiritual jazz, Afrobeat. Their approach is so unique, and at the same time, the albums that come out of it, you know, they're so diverse and so different from one another. And what's so great is that in an album like this, you have like these musicians in the scene kind of like collaborating together. Yeah, it's just something that just feels so alive and much needed in like modern jazz right now. So very excited to have this.
And I think like jazz is having a resurgence. Like for me, so like only recently I've gotten into like jazz.
Shout out Kumasi, man.
Yeah, I think
really,
definitely. I agree.
Like, I mean, Kumasi can be a meme sometimes, is it not because of him, but because people make him a meme. But like, he really is very, very much responsible for like a new resurgence and like
new thing,
an interest in jazz. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah. So and last but not least, this came as a surprise, but like I guess it was calling out to me lah. And like Macintosh Class, it doesn't need any explanation. The most seminal and like most iconic album of Vaporwave.
Yeah, speaking of memes, this is like the ultimate meme to have on vinyl.
It is, yeah. And like, I mean, my life is a meme anyway, so it's great.
Fun fact, I've actually placed an order for this record in 2017, but I've not gotten my copy. And that's because the label that actually pressed it is a total fluke. I won't go into it, you can probably like search for it yourself, but essentially like they've kind of run away with a lot of people's money. And only a small selection of people got the records. So either way, Nigel's very lucky to have this because like if you see it anywhere, just buy it lah, really. Seminal piece of work for the internet.
I guess it's meant to be, shout out to Vectroid, man. Like come back with a new Macintosh Class album. Vaporwave's not dead.
I think as it goes for like record stores in Southeast Asia, Singapore is one of the most privileged in terms of like the variety and the selections that we have. And Analog Vault is one of the most unique stores that you have like within the region. Another place is like White Label, half record store, half bar, and they've been having a lot of parties there as well. Recently, his own label had a showcase over there. As a record collector and as a music fan, first and foremost, I'm just like, it's a real privilege and like it's just fantastic to even have like stores like these around.
As with Analog Vault, right, like they've always brought like great selections, and I think the people that work here, they really know their stuff. And like they have great music taste and like they're really open. Every time I come here, I just feel like I want to walk away with like 10 records. But I can't afford it.
Which is why sometimes we'll try to avoid coming all together just so that we won't buy any records. Because most of the time we come to the stores, we always end up with at least one record. So.
Yep, pretty much. But the selection here is
dope.
It's great.
Dope. So dope. Yeah. Thank you, Analog Vault.
Thanks.